Okay, week 2 of the high school season is here, guys, and for a second week of games, there's some really interesting matchups, I think. It starts Thursday night at Ripview Stadium. Enterprise comes over here to play Northview. Both teams winning their openers. Jeremy, you saw Enterprise. They were very impressive last Friday night.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, it was Sidney Lanier, who's not exactly been the strongest 6A program out there, but and it was a close game at halftime, 14-7. A late fumble recovery for a touchdown made it close as the Enterprise was driving to make it 21-0. But Enterprise's depth and running attack just took over in the second half. They started using Harrelson to run the ball, and that just kind of opened up things for Curry as well. So combined, they rushed for 300 yards. So that's a dynamic running attack.
David, I know you saw Northview and Rehoboth. Northview gets the win last week. Their defense is going to have a real test in trying to contain the Enterprise offense. Talk about what you saw in the Northview defensive end.
Northview kind of impressed me. They struggled last year pretty bad, but they looked pretty solid in some respects. I mean, they still got a lot of kinks to work out, but they were a little bit more solid than I thought it was in terms of chemistry, in terms of not beating themselves too badly. They did have a couple of turnovers in the first half that kept Rehoboth in the game for a little bit while, but they did a good job in the second half cutting down those mistakes, particularly the penalties and turnovers. And then Jalen Harris made some good decisions. They put the ball in his hands more and said, make some good decisions for us, and he made some good decisions and keeping it on the option. Very fundamentally sound in doing things there in the second half. And the defense played pretty well, particularly late in the fourth quarter when they needed to.
Another big game Friday night at Ripview Stadium, or another region game when Auburn comes here to play Dothan. I think that's got a chance to be a really good game. Of course, Dothan gets an opening win in Montgomery last Thursday night. Auburn is ranked in the state. Talk about this matchup, and I think it ought to be a really good one.
This is a measuring stick for Dothan. Obviously, you mentioned that Auburn's ranked. They're ranked 6th. They're the region champs. They almost made the state finals. Last year, they were one punt return away from possibly making the finals last year against Prattville. They gave a big, long punt return. Very solid, very athletic team. It's a measuring stick. Sort of reminds me of the Prattville game in the playoffs last year. Dothan played Prattville in the first round. Wasn't a very good outcome. This is a measuring stick to see how far they've come from that game to this one. Very similar team, Prattville and Auburn. So it should be, I think Dothan will play pretty well. Still, it's going to be a hard task with a lot of talent Auburn has.